You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality, built to hunt.
I guess. So, but what about an Irish car bomb? What's an Irish car bomb?
I don't know what that is.
Good.
No, I think that's Jaeger and Guinness.
Innocence.
Yeah, Guinness and Jaeger, I think, is the Irish car bomb. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430. This is episode 180, and you know what? When the millions of fans speak, we listen. We really do listen. And when you guys send in messages and say, some of the best episodes are when just you guys are on shooting the shit. So we thought we'd treat you to us just shooting the shit. And
you're saying that the guests got to step up their game? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's the guest's fault. I think it's my fault as the interviewer. I had to step up my game and make it a more, what would you say, enjoyable experience?
Atmosphere?
Yes, a more enjoyable. Yes. All those multi-syllable words to describe my inability to properly conduct an interview.
Or speak English.
Oh, he's coming out firing tonight, guys.
Yeah,
he's
starting right off the bat.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. I wasn't listening.
No, that's still that Mario friendly fucking joke is still one of the best. I actually showed that to Trish the other night. I was like, listen to Phil burn me on this. And she laughed. She was like, that's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Still love you, big fella.
Mm-hmm. Everybody, yeah. Thanks to everybody that's listening. Please like and subscribe. Go check out our sponsors. It's First Light, Real Geese, and Ducklander Calls. Go check them out and see. We're at that point of the year now where things are going to soon start ramping up, and you're going to soon start seeing more products like Craig Mintz and Real Geese have a sale coming out this week. Bobby Hayes is building his inventory for Ducklander Calls. We just seen a story on Facebook today where he's painting his barrels of his calls, and First Light is coming out with some new colors and new gear. Pretty much from now until the end of summer, it'll be a constant slow burn on new gear coming out. So please check them out, and of course, the voice of the Union 0430, Mr. Captain Jeff Coates, down in Maryland. Go check him out. Jeff is always up to something. Like always. He's got a litter of dogs right now. He's trying to fill his decoy orders. And I seen him today post red-breasted mergansers that he's got curved. And I'm just thinking to myself, who is buying red-breasted mergansers as decoys besides the boys in Newfoundland and Lance Holmes? I don't know who else would be buying fucking merganser decoys, but they look pretty good. I got to give them.
Ducks don't even want to hang out with the mergansers. So I don't know.
Over the last year, though, I've seen a couple people talking to personally, and then on podcasts and that, hearing a few people like going after them, like that was their target bird for over the last couple seasons. Like
the common is a nice looking bird, like the male. Like if you wanted to get one to mount, like it is a good look.
Hoodie.
A hoodie is a gorgeous bird too, but the common merganser is a good looking bird, like that big white fucking whale coming out of the sky. That's a good looking bird too. But the hooded, that's a great look.
That's the one Marion got that time that was banded.
Yeah, shot it there in that man-made lake there, and
they ban fish ducks too.
Yeah, well, they ban
hens as well.
Yep.
So
Over half my bands are from him.
what's that? Over half your bands are what?
From hens.
I think all my bands. Well, I have one Greenhead. For everybody that's wondering, and the people that have messaged me, and I'm not sure if anybody has been messaging you, Mark. Phil, you weren't there. Craig, you weren't there. But if anybody's been messaging you about the sombrero lady, it, you know, it. The wonderful thing about this community is that it is such a small community, especially, in North America, and we've said it on here a million times. Like in North America, the waterfowling community is very tiny, right? Like everybody really knows everybody. You're connected. What is it? They call it 7 degrees of separation with 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon. But when we talked about that, Mark, about Sombrero Lady, I got a call the other morning from a fella, and he was like, "Man, my spidey sense is tingling, and I think I got an idea of who this was." And I'm like, "Well, I have no idea what her name is, which is why I'm calling her Sombrero Lady." But anyways, it was her. He knew it. It was quite funny. It was quite funny.
His nickname was Senorita.
Need to start up an Instagram page and
You
just
could have
kind
had
of
a
make
lot of
whole
names.
other
Sorry,
character.
What'd you say, Craig?
And you need to start up an Instagram page for it and create a whole little character and little adventures and stuff like that and follow along.
Well, I'm sure we can get Greg to draft up some figurines.
Yeah, get Greg Taylor to.
Oh, yeah.
Get Greg Taylor to. You know what? That's a fucking out. We should make a comic.
A little mascot.
No, like
sombrero duck or something.
like just like a monthly comic, or just a comic strip. Do you remember I don't know, I haven't read a newspaper in fucking years, but remember in the newspapers they used to have like the comic strips?
Yeah.
You still got them.
That's what we should get Greg Taylor to make us a fucking comic strip and do it with Sombrero Lady.
Do some YouTube shorts with it.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Okay, Craig or Greg, if you're listening, be prepared because the email
Get in contact with Damien.
yeah, because the email is inbound tomorrow that I'm gonna want a comic strip made. There. that
He
experience.
needs to know some backstory though.
Oh, I'll give him. I'll
That
totally
we can't
give him.
share on the show.
No, but I'll totally give him the entire backstory. There, that's an experience that'll never die because we've made it into a comic strip now. It'd be awesome.
That's it. That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. Boys, I don't really have a whole lot of shit that I want to talk about tonight. I really just wanted to get us on and just have a chat. Mark got a strobe light going in his room there for some reason. Yeah, it looks like, it's gone now. It looked like it was a disco.
There's nothing blinking. It's the computer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anything really planned. I just wanted to, shoot the shit and really have, a talk like we would if we were sitting in a blind, right? Which was really the reason that this show started and what the early conversations were before, I guess, I started and got focused on always having guests on the podcast and stuff like that. But we started a conversation earlier this week in our group chat, and I thought this would be a good place to talk about it and maybe get a little bit of feedback from the listeners. But this whole shotgun camera GoPro thing that's going on with shot cam. We seen our buddy Chris Collins had just bought a new camera for his shotgun. He's been using shot cam forever. Marco Cunha, same thing. He's been showing shot cam videos forever. And Mark, you made a comment, and when you said it, I was like, huh, I never really fucking ever thought about it. And I bet you're not the only one that thinks that way when you said it really doesn't do anything for you to see birds eat it.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah, of
I
course.
have no problem with people doing it. I just don't enjoy
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with not enjoying it and whatever. That's fuck. It's such a weird time in history of humanity now whenever we disagree with something, we somehow gotta step back and go, it's okay if you like it, but it's just not for me. You've got to put that precursor out there, right? So I could really care less if I see birds folding in the sky or the pile picks and stuff like that. And I think we talked about this once before with Rusty Heron on here, where we said, your videos, I'm more interested in seeing your videos of, how you got to the pile pick, the scouting and the setup and the, the strategy going behind trying to get these birds to commit to you. Those are the things that I really like. But at the same time, I really could care less if it's birds folding in the air. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm okay with video of hunts and people knocking down birds. That's not. It's the shot cam thing where it's a little bit zoomed in. It's the little dot, and you're leading the bird. You shoot the bird, the bird folds. Then you get it again, and then you get it again, and you see the misses and
Right.
all that stuff. Or some people just never show the misses, so it's all hits.
Some people, that's all they've got.
So, but I have no problem with seeing hunts with people folding birds all day long.
Yeah.
It's something about the angle of a shot cam,
Right.
to me personally, and just the way it's done that I get no enjoyment out of.
Craig,
it's weird.
No, it's not weird. That's just what you're into. And that's fine. And Craig, you said you've got one, right? You've got a camera on your gun. Is it a shot cam or?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
Carrie bought it for me a couple of years ago, I think for my birthday.
Oh,
or
you must have been you must have been a good boy.
Usually.
Usually?
I cook well, I clean.
Yeah, well, yeah. But good.
But I think she got it the year before I was doing my family trip out to Manitoba.
Mm-hmm.
And just part of that was to try and capture as much as we could of that trip.
Yeah.
But then for me, leading up to that, my plan was to kind of use it as a way of working on my shooting too, right? Being able to capture that footage. And so I got together with Marco before that trip for him to kind of run me through how to run it well and how to kind of take that video and learn from it. So that was my main goal with it, was figuring out, am I leading too much? Am I leading not enough? Or am I just completely completely missing all together? And it did help, especially that first season I was doing more shooting, and definitely helped when you can sit back, because even if you got a good connection, you can sit there between birds and watch the video and see what you're doing too.
Right. And you know what? I know the skeet club that I was part of, they had one, but the skeet club owned one, and you could just go in and sign it out on your days that you were shooting skeet, and you could set it up. And that was same thing, Craig. Like they were there to use it as a training tool, right? But and I don't know, is that what the original thought process was behind it when ShotCam came out with it? Like was that it, or was it meant to show the actual dispatching of the animal, whatever it is, turkey, birds? I think the one that Chris Collins just bought is one that goes mounted on his rifle, so it'd probably be, I think Chris Collins, and Phil, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he would use it mostly for like coyote hunting, right?
Yeah,
because
like
he does a lot.
That's the main purpose. He's actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's got another camera that like hooks up to the scope. I don't know if it goes in front or the front of the back of the scope or
Is
how
that
it works,
the new one that he just bought?
No, something else he's got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is just another new toy, new gadget to tinker with and
Right.
whatnot,
But then,
so.
For everybody that's listening, and the shot cam, like I know the shot cam, like it's an investment, right? And obviously it's got that gyro in it, so that soon as the safety is off and there's any movement in the firearm, it actually starts recording and stuff. So like I have a Tacticam, which is not user friendly whatsoever. And I'm not a big, just because it's not user friendly, so I hardly ever put it on. I think for a turkey hunt I will, but when it comes to duck hunting, I don't. Um, but I'm curious with the people that are listening, because there's not a lot. Like you see phone video or like camcorder or whatever that term is, video camera now. You'll see that kind of video on social media and YouTube and stuff, but there isn't a lot of the shot cam or the shotgun cameras. You don't see a lot of that on social media. There's some, but not as
Well,
much as what I thought it would be.
There's some pages, like kind of like the Real Geese fan page. There's shot cam pages, and
Okay.
then that's all it is video after video, and some of it's pretty cool because it's not just guys in North America; it's guys with them all across the globe. And a lot of the videos you see, that you would expect it to be mostly birds, but a lot of it is hogs, fox, and stuff like that, and a lot of running, like running deer, running hogs, and
Really?
being shot with rifles with them. It's some pretty cool footage.
That would
Yeah.
watching
There's another
coyotes
angle.
fold would be cool. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
There's another angle to all this, and it was something that came up a couple of years ago. And we had actually talked about it, I'm pretty sure, on the show, from what I remember. But there was an individual that put up a shot cam of him shooting at geese. He had from a road, and he had no decoys, no hide. He didn't own any of this stuff. He had a shotgun and he bought a shot cam, and he was just sky blasting geese.
Oh, I remember that
Remember
guy.
that?
That was
Yeah.
an Ontario guy, right?
Yeah, that was in Ontario.
Yeah.
And-
No, yeah, it was a couple years ago.
We were questioning. Now, this is this individual's money. You do you, whatever it is, your choices. That's up to yourself. We were just questioning the decision-making process in getting a shotgun and a shot cam and no decoys, no calls, no binos, none of this stuff, right?
Right.
No blind or nothing.
And
Yeah,
and
what's
it's
the motivation
Question
behind
there.
it?
So if your goal is just to
get
get a
video and
shotgun and a
content.
shot cam and try and make cool shots, you might want to develop the other things first.
And like everything on this show, one subject leads into another. And I got to preface this by saying, by no means am I like throwing any shade out to this person whatsoever. I'm not. It's not a bad thing what he done or anything. It's just this topic made me think of it. So today I get a message from a young fella, 21 years old, out of Quebec, looking for a sponsor, or he wants me, Punisher Waterfowl, to sponsor him and his buddy. They're hunters and they're trying to. In his message, he said they're pretty much trying to preserve the way of life and try to, keep the attention on bird hunters and stuff like that, right? And I said to him, well, Punisher's a small brand. There's no ambassadors, there's no pro staff, there's nothing like that. But I said to him, oh, you didn't know?
We're not pro staff.
Yeah. But I said to him, I was like, hey man, like this, if I could give you some advice, and if this is something serious that you're actually serious about, and that is that you want to preserve this way of life and you want to continue to grow it. And he said he's from a small town in Quebec, right? And he wants to continue to grow it and show the fun and everything like that. And I said, take your phone out or get a camera, something half decent, and get out and start filming your hunts next season. And then, spend some time in the editing room. And it doesn't have to be Hollywood quality by no means, but put some videos together of your hunts and then create a YouTube channel. And I guarantee you, if you're doing quality stuff, someone will come knocking on your door. If you do quality stuff, if you're doing it humanely and you're doing it right and you're not, trying to fucking stick cigarettes in duck bills and stuff like that. People have come and he wrote back and he said, "That's great advice. I appreciate it and thank you." So hopefully that's what he does. But and I'm guilty of it, right? Like I've went knocking on doors asking for sponsorship and the whole bit. I've done it. And this show was sponsored by 3 brands, right? So and I get it and I understand. And again, this is a topic that we beat to death a lot early when we were starting this show. We talked about it a lot, but the whole ambassador pro staff sort of deal, which I think is going the way to Dodo Bird. I don't think you really hear about it that much anymore. I think you really need to be providing something to those businesses for them to take you on as a pro staff or as an ambassador or whatever fucking term they want to use these days. I think you really, really need to be benefiting the company in order for them to take you on, because it's just so much with social media. It's so easy to tag a company that you have no affiliation with, like on paper. And you could do a cool video or do a cool post and just tag them, and it's really free advertising for them.
Yeah, it's like most of the companies, like there's already guys out there with Instagram pages and YouTube. They're filming everything, they're posting everything, they're tagging the companies, doing the same thing that the companies would have had you doing before, but now they haven't even contacted you, they haven't given you anything, and you're doing it anyways.
Yeah. And
if I was gonna say, if you really want to put yourself in the spotlight and make yourself look like, you know, that you're bigger than what you really are, you can pay for followers.
well, yeah, no, Phil.
Funny you say that, Phil.
Funny you say that, Phil. And that was awesome when you sent that the other day, because it is awesome. And I didn't realize. Well, I've known like for the last year and a bit, I guess. And it was only through this show that I found out about it. And I'm pretty sure it was you that told me then, Phil. But I had no idea you could pay for followers to make your account seem like it's this big thing. And
You can turn yourself into an internet sensation overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For $29.95. Like,
You get the
So-
platinum package.
Now I know you haven't done it, Phil. I know you haven't paid
I
for
refuse.
that. Absolutely, and I get that, but and I think we all know somebody that has, but we
Yes, we
don't
do.
know, that person well enough that we could ask the ins and outs, right? Like we know that person does it, but we don't really know all of the background to it, right? So I'm just wondering, like, so let's say it is $29.95, right? Let's say it's $30 to pay for. Is that just a one-time deal? You pay the $30 and then they get you 10,000 followers, or is it a monthly thing where you got to pay every month? Or
I think it's like I don't know, like this. I had some clown reach out to me, and I may or may not have had a little bit of fun with them.
well, that
But,
you certainly did.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's like monthly, yearly. I guess it all depends what scam artist reached out to you and say, hey, I can do X, Y, and Z for you, whatever the case may be. But the funny thing is actually there's programs that you can like run people's Instagram handles through.
Yeah.
And it tells you like the percentage of real accounts versus bots.
Yeah.
It can also go through and you can see like their progressive growth of their account, like from day one. So it's like, oh, like on such and such a day, you grew by exactly 1,000 followers overnight. Paid for.
Right.
Oh, on this day, you grew by 5,000 followers. Paid for. Like, it's not rocket science. Like,
Well-
you can completely and utterly call out these fakes by running their name through this program.
Well,
Right.
I had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I think Phil should read some of that conversation.
You should
It's fun.
actually.
No.
No, he says.
No.
Actually, you know what would be fun is if he screen shared the conversation from his phone, because it was a good chuckle.
There may or may not have been talk about package sizes.
Yes.
Yeah, gold package, platinum package, yeah.
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 It
I want
was
the platinum package. Oh, we have that too. I'm like, oh. So we'll at least say this much. So
yeah. Give the Coles Notes version.
Buddy sends me the price list. It's like it's this much for the bronze package. This is what you get. This much for silver, gold, diamond. Like 6 different packages. And so I go through and I'm like, okay, let's have some fun. So I'm like, oh, like I was really interested in like a platinum package because it wasn't listed in his menu, so to
Pricing,
speak.
right?
So I'm like, oh, I was really, really interested in a platinum package, but I see you don't have it. He's like, oh, brother, but wait, we do. And then he
But
sends
wait,
me
there's
like
more.
but wait, there's more. And then he sends me like the little snippet of what the platinum package entails. And like I replied with like a facepalm emoji
Yeah.
and wrote, well, that backfired. The guy's response, meaning? Question
Yeah.
mark. And I'm like,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah. He wasn't picking up what you were throwing down at all.
He was not smelling what the rock was cooking. No. But I'm like, yeah,
now,
that was a fail.
but that should make you feel good, Philly, that, obviously there the disco was going again in Merck's place. And now it
But
stops. As soon as we bring it up and you put your arms up, it stops. That's funny.
But yeah, that was like 6 minutes. I'll never get back.
But it should make you feel good because obviously they look at your social media profile and it.
Well, I think if anything, they feel bad for me.
No, I don't look at,
and they want me to make my stuff look better.
No, I don't look at it that way. I think they've strategically pointed you out as though this guy has got something. And
this guy looks like a sucker. Can we take his money?
No,
this guy's sad. Let's help him.
No, I don't look at it that way. I think they look at it as though this guy's got some good quality. Maybe he's just looking for that little nudge to get him over the top, over the hump, right? And then they're hoping you buy it hook, line, and sinker. Obviously, they don't know how cheap Philly is.
No, they don't.
That's the real thing. They have no idea how cheap Phil is.
Time.
Unless it's a gun, Philly's not buying it.
No.
Yeah. Or saw.
Yeah.
Don't knock my sauce. I have 2 very nice chainsaws.
You. I agree. Talk amongst yourself.
Yeah.
Just a little lighter.
Right? Just don't burn your eyebrows off. Like for those who aren't watching, Damien is currently trying to relight a cigar. He's using a freaking plumber's butane torch.
Great success.
If they don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Yeah.
And mildly singed.
Yes. Yes. Point. Shallow and pedantic.
So since we were in this like lull between seasons here, any big purchases for upcoming duck season here, guys, or what's going on?
Well, that's December. Was it December or November? I picked up 8 dozen silos.
Oh yeah. For those,
we've converted Mark to the dark side.
We have.
I haven't used them yet.
What?
I said I haven't used them yet.
But I love the conversation. I wish you guys were in on the conversation because I created like a group chat between me, Mark, and Craig Mintz, and I was like, Craig, we've done it. We've actually done it. Mark wants to buy some silos. And Craig was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" It was this big thing. Mark is buying silhouettes. This is amazing. Craig Mintz was so happy. It was funny. It was hilarious, actually.
I did the same last year. I was building up just a spread of silhouettes, and just because I've only had one goose property to hunt for the last few years, and it's a huge field, and I can only walk in. And so I was taking stuff out on game cart and stuff like that. So I didn't have a lot of decoys because I couldn't carry a lot out. And so I started getting the silhouettes. And then I lost that field after I started getting a good spread going. Just for the year. The guy planted canola and didn't want me going in the fall. And but luckily the next day I got another field. I've been living here since 2008. It took me almost that long to get one field. And then as soon as I lost one, I got another one. And at least I can drive into that one. There's a laneway right through the middle, but I spent last fall kind of building up the silhouettes and stuff, and hopefully this year get both fields going and kind of get that stuff ready to go and have some more success out in those fields.
Do you
Yeah.
know what he's planning on planting?
That guy with the canola, I don't know what his plan is for this fall. I haven't talked to him yet. And then the other field I just picked up was wheat, so I only got one hunt out of that in the early season. I got it.
Corn this year.
What's that?
It'll probably be corn this year.
It could be, yeah. But I got his field, I think 2 days before the end of the early season, and it had been cut for over a month, I think, at that point. So the geese were pretty much done by the time the early season closed and the regular season opened. They were gone. So I only got in there the one time.
Is there a standard rotation that farmers usually keep? So like if it's wheat one year, it's corn the next, and then it's alfalfa. You know what I mean? Like, is there a
They
standard
usually go
rotation?
between cash crops. They're usually going between wheat, corn, and beans.
Beans.
They'll mix in some other stuff sometimes. Depends on prices too, or projected prices.
And
Some guys will put corn in the field year after year after year after year after year.
that's
I've seen that.
well, that's what I think happens around here. Like a few of the fields that are around here, I don't have access to them, but I drive by them, and it just seems like every fall it's always corn.
Yeah. Some of these.
Now that's silage too, right? So
Go ahead.
I think silage is different though, right? Like
Yeah, that's cow food.
yeah,
Cow
that's
food,
cow.
is big food.
Yeah, so
So they don't really care, right? Like it's just
That whole stalk, like literally, there's a 2 or
Yeah,
3 inch
it does,
snub.
yeah.
Everything from that up gets thrown through a blender.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what they used to use for animal feed, period. It wasn't just cows. That was what went into cat and dog food for the longest time.
Really?
Silage. Not just corn.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. And there's still some pet foods that do it. So it's not good for dogs and cats to have that in their food.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Well,
my-
no,
my-
that'd be a high fat, right? The corn.
If it was pure corn,
Yeah.
but it's silage.
Yeah. It's,
Silage is corn.
yeah.
The whole stock is corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my farmers, they rotate back and forth between beans and corn, and then they'll mix a wheat in here and there. But like the wheat will always come after a bean harvest.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Always?
because corn gets cut if it's not silage corn, like if it's cut
Right.
like grain corn, kernel corn, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, it cannot get cut until like November, December. I've seen guys cut corn
You
in
gotta get the
January.
moisture down.
Yeah,
Oh,
Um,
right.
but beans generally dries faster, I guess. So they can
Oh.
get those beans cut like September, mid-September, late September, and then get wheat put in like the next day.
I think
Yeah,
that's my
or whatever.
favorite field to hunt. I hate trying to hide in a bean field, but I think a bean field's my favorite field to hunt.
Well, beans have a higher caloric output than corn.
I was gonna try and say that. I was gonna, like, as you were saying,
Trying to be scientific.
yeah, I was gonna say caloric, but it wasn't gonna come out as caloric. I was gonna totally bastardize that word 100%.
What's that?
Why?
Where did the thumbs up come from?
Who did that? Phil?
Why?
No, there's just like
Thumb
a thumb
emoji.
emoji.
There was a big
Thumb
thumb on
emoji.
your screen.
Oh, never seen it.
Oh, you'll have to look at in the post
How did we
editing.
do that?
Oh.
I gotta see how we do that.
Well, there's reactions.
Where's
Right.
that?
Interesting.
Down there, Mark. You just put.
I
a
found the
thumb-
reactions, but that wasn't what showed
Yeah,
up.
it's not the same.
Oh no, I didn't see it.
It's the government. They're listening in.
It's the government. They took my babies.
Someone else is fucking in on this.
It's possessed.
Yeah, it was Bill Gates.
DNR.
But
One thing
I think
I've
this. Go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, just kind of back to what's going on for this upcoming season. I started actually being able to get people out with me last year, which is the first time I've ever been able to offer that to somebody. And so with those couple of fields, and I found a couple of good public spots too that they're farmed and people don't realize that they're public land.
Okay.
and it's owned by one of the associations in the area, and you can actually hunt them. And I found it loaded with birds last year,
Oh,
and so
nice.
I got out on a couple hunts with a crew that I've known for a few years through our Ducks Unlimited dinner, guys that have sponsored and come to the
Yep.
dinner, and even for turkey season, we've brought on some new people at our Hunters and Anglers Club, and we've kind of started like a mentorship program, like an adult mentorship program. So we've got a lot of new members the last few years that are trying to get into fishing and hunting. So even for turkey season, I've got a couple people lined up to come out to some of these properties too. So that's yeah, I've never been in a position to have places to take people to, and or the knowledge to really do it either, right? Or the equipment. So yeah, it's just kind of nice looking back at last year, having a couple opportunities like that, and building on a few more of them this year.
That you just said something there when you said, I get it if you didn't have all the gear, right, to be able to bring somebody along and stuff like that. But the knowledge thing, I'm not the smartest or the greatest hunter by no means, but that's one thing that I don't worry about is the not, because if I do something wrong, I just chalk it up as a learning experience. I don't really, it's the gear and the, I guess, the opportunity that stops me sometimes for being able to bring somebody out. Maybe I don't have the room for them or whatever like that. But the knowledge, that doesn't really bug me. Like if I don't do the spread the exact proper way, and I'm not a very good caller at all, that stuff doesn't bug me. Like if somebody comes out and hunts with me and it's a horrible hunt, all because, oh, now I just seen that thumb come up again, but it's got like a swirly thing going around
Yeah, like a
it.
speech bubble
Was it
kind
on
of thing.
yours?
Yeah, just showed up on Craig's screen.
Trippy.
Yeah, it is
Someone's
trippy.
fucking with us.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't, if that's what's going to, if someone comes out to hunt with me and they walk away and they say it was a fucking horrible hunt and they didn't enjoy themselves and it was because I didn't call right or I didn't set up the spread right, well, you know what? Okay, well, that was the one time that you came out and hunted with me. You're not going to come out and hunt anymore. Like if that's what's going to ruin your hunt is because I didn't set up the spread properly, well then you and I probably aren't going to hunt anymore together. Like that's the least important thing to me, to be honest with you. But the good thing, Craig, is that you've got a crew of fellas. That's the thing that I have the hardest job with is trying to find that crew. And it's not that there isn't people that's willing to hunt. It's trying to find people that's the same mentality as you, right? That
Yeah.
take it as serious as you, that want to put the time in it, that you want to put the time in it, and be able to go, you know, at the same times. Like I remember, Mark, when you guys were up in the Ottawa Valley, like you guys had a crazy crew, and the amount of hunting that you guys did in a week was insane. Like how you guys worked at with your own work schedules and everything. Like it was insane, man. Like you guys dropped a lot of fucking birds in the fall.
We were easily averaging 3 hunts a week, sometimes 4 and 5.
And that's what everybody worked, like everybody had full-time jobs.
Yeah, I got out that year. I think one year I got out on between 65 and 70 hunts during the season.
Right. And
Like,
and that's maintaining a full-time job, which is
well,
insane.
I had a supervisor who was awesome and was into hunting. And for the military, for a lot of us, PT was mandatory, so to do
Yep.
some exercise. And
Yep.
for my PT, 2 or 3 times a week, I would go hunting
Mm-hmm.
in the morning and then show up to work after. Because I'd be up before sunrise.
Yep.
You'd be set up before sunrise, and I'd always set myself a time limit. Let's be done by. And I think, Craig, the time you and Kira came with us was one of those mornings.
Yep.
And yeah, I would set a time limit and then be done. And if I had to leave the field and go get back to work, I would go get back to work. And that's how it worked. And my boss was awesome, but I was working an office job at the time. I wasn't actually working on the aircraft, so it was really good that way. And I'll never repeat that scenario again.
No,
Unless I'm
I
retired.
I need Phil. I need Phil to move down closer to me because I'm
You
not.
can move out this way.
No, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving my fucking property. Not a
Closer to
chance.
Toronto.
But all my fields are over here.
I know, but we could get fields down here, and Dana could get a rocking job down here.
Oh, she can just do the same job she does now.
Yeah.
Still work from home.
I think you guys should move down here. Honestly, I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there, and you get away from the dirty schwa.
I already did that.
Well, you're still close to it, though.
Close enough.
You're still close to the dirty
Yeah.
schwa.
Just still gets its stickiness on you.
We border it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you've got, like, up in that area where you are, Phil, like, you've got some prime, like, Scugog, rice, like, that's all up in,
so much skiddy water.
yeah.
So much water. Like, kidding, it's like, where do you go? Like, that is my biggest issue, is where to go. Like, I've been talking with Chris Collins a fair bit now that I've got the little plastic boat,
Mm-hmm.
and like, just picking spots and stuff, and just like, we've got no idea where to start. But again, just like you said, like, how do you eat an elephant? One
Yeah,
bite at a time.
one bite at a time. Yeah. Yeah,
just
like-
start picking spots. Let's go here today. Let's go there tomorrow. Like,
But for you, with your proximity to the greater Toronto area, I would think that you have a little bit more pressure. And I would say the same for you, Craig, up where you are. Like, you got a lot of pressure up there too, right?
Yeah.
I would
Oh,
think like there's
my
pressure
only-
here.
my only pressure is like big main water.
Right.
Because like, nobody's got, like, there's hardly anybody running new canoes or any sort of equivalent. Like, they're few and far between.
Yeah.
Mud motors are gaining popularity, but again, they're still few and far between. And honestly, like, 95% of my hunting is midweek.
Yeah.
So there ain't no one around anyways.
Yeah.
No,
And-
that's not.
But around here, there's pressure, but like not in that you see a lot of guys out. But like, one thing for me, I'm really bad, and I think I remember you mentioned this before, Damien, kind of part of the reason why I got rid of your boat, just getting kind of talking yourself out of going sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
for me, it's like I'll talk myself out of going to try in the spot, or like, I'm right on Georgian Bay and there's ducks all the time, but it's like, well, maybe I'll go out in the morning, and I go look at the water. It's like, it's big water.
Yeah.
Kind of scared. And,
Yeah. Well,
or
no,
even just knocking on doors too, a lot of times, right? Like, I'll see a good field, and it's like, there's a building right there. It may not be the right place, but I'm bad for talking myself out of going and knocking on that door, because I'll be like, well, if they're going to let somebody hunt, they'd already be hunting it. And when I do finally knock on the doors, and especially when I first started knocking on doors around here, I still had like my little blue Honda. It was like a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
little
I
hybrid,
remember.
right? So,
Yeah, I remember
so
that
it's
car.
like, I'd knock on the door and people would look like, "Are you live around here?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I live just down the road." And they're, "Oh,
Are
okay."
you a hippie?
Yeah,
Are you a hippie?
especially in Simcoe County, most of the county forests, they're open to public hunting. But then you've got, we're just north of Bradford, just north of the GTA, so a lot of guys just they come north, and as soon as you hit the county forest, they just start roaming, start wandering, and end up on private land and stuff like that, or just, you've got that whole crowd knocking on doors. So yeah, it's just, I think there's not a lot of pressure of running into guys out there, but pressure when you're knocking on doors that guys have been there and
Right.
either bad experience, or there's just been so many guys at the door that they're just tired of dealing with it.
Yeah, I get that. I don't really have a problem knocking on doors. Like, I don't mind knocking on doors. But I guess I do in a little way. Like, I'll look at some places and I'm like, well, there's a stack of birds in there. Somebody's already got
Yeah.
permission, or they've been denied permission. So sometimes I won't, just because I'm like, this is too good of an area that somebody hasn't already knocked on the doors and asked, right? But yeah, but now you brought up the boat when I sold the boat. So remember, Phil and Mark, you guys would remember Keith Mitchell from Mud Buddy. He was on the show, right? He was on the show
okay.
way back.
Okay.
Him and Jeff, they came on the show one time. Anyways, I messaged him, I don't know, a while ago just to say hi. I haven't been talking to him in ages. And he messaged me back and he's like, "Hey, how's the rig? How's the boat? How's the motor?" And I was like, I sold it. And he was like, "Well, what the fuck did you do that for?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm sort of kind of I'm kicking myself in the ass for selling it now because I wish I would have kept it. But again, it would have been just a lot of times it would have just been sitting here because I wouldn't have went by myself, just like what you were saying, Craig. Like I would have just talked myself out of it. Got up in the morning and looked out. No, it was a bit windy. Nah, I don't really
Yeah,
feel it.
you see one leaf fall down. It's like, well, no, I can't go.
Yeah, like I'll talk myself out of a water hunt for sure. Now a field hunt, not really. I won't talk myself out of that. But
Well,
if
it's
if
a
it's
lot of work, like doing it with the boat.
it
And doing it
is,
solo.
it
Because
is.
I go out fishing in my boat solo all the time, and like it's an event when you get to the dock in the morning, and like I got to cover all my boat, so I got to cover off, and then I got to get like the spare tire out of the boat, and then I got to get the trolling motor mounted. Like it's a bit of a fiasco. Like I'll still go and do it, but like I can see what you say. Like it's even more so doing all this out of like like a mud rig, like what you had. And if you're hunting out of that boat, like you got to get out, you got to set decoys. Like it's one thing if you can say drive from the ramp to a spot and like shore hunt, and you can do all your decoys by foot. Like that's a hell of a lot easier. But if you can't step foot out of the boat, like then yeah, it's a huge headache. Like it's a lot of work.
I had a really good system when Mark used to hunt with me because Mark would just get in the truck, he would back the boat in, I would sit in the boat, you know, get the boat off the trailer. Mark would go park the truck in the trailer, he would come back, me and the dog would be already in the boat, and then Mark could just jump in and we'd go. And then when it was time to come ashore, drop Mark off. He would go pick up the truck, back down, and then I just drive the boat right onto the trailer and off we'd go. It was a pretty slick system like that. But I agreed, like by yourself, it is, especially on those windy days, trying to get the boat on the trailer perfect, and the wind is blowing the boat around and you're trying to get it on those bunks properly. Yeah. It used to be a pain in the ass. Now, meanwhile, we're saying this, and I'm sure there's fellas listening who are like, "Fuck, that'd be the least of my problems. At least you can get out and stuff like that." And I get it. I understand. There's some fellas that wish that they had that problem, but um, that was where I was. But we really have danced around this whole idea. And Craig, I know you brought it up when we were talking in the group chat about what we were going to do for the next season, and I think Merck's touched on it, you've touched on it, Phil hasn't, I haven't. I don't really like big purchases now. I think I'm good like for gear. Like really it's just little bits. Like if I'd like to have, I guess the only thing that I'd really like to have, I'd like to have something that's a little bit more motion on the water. That, and I'm not talking about a spinner. I'm talking about something that disrupts the water. Like I've
Like
got
a pulsator.
yeah, like I've got that pulsator. I've got that, which I think is a great piece of kit. And it works good. But I haven't killed any birds over it yet.
No.
No.
I'm completely revamping my water spread this year.
How?
So if anyone's looking for decoys, shoot me a message. I'll have some for sale.
What are you doing?
Or I'm just updating, getting new stuff.
Well, you actually, yeah, you would need new stuff now if you're going to operate out of that new canoe, right? You're
Not
going to
really. I can use what I have. I'm just getting new stuff.
Well, you could, but the decoys that you have are heavy, right?
Well, I'm putting an outboard on the boat, so the weight doesn't matter. Fuck off.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't paddle.
Yeah.
No.
Philly don't paddle. That's
for peasants.
Yeah.
Paddling's for peasants.
Yeah. That's a hashtag right there. Philly don't paddle.
Yeah. I'm just updating everything. So so whoever's listening and is interested, I'll have a dozen Avian X, dozen DOAs.
What do you have what do you got? Avian X? Is it mallards?
Oh, mallards. Yeah, everything's mallards.
I
So
might
dozen
take
Avian
those
X,
mallards off you.
dozen DOA, dozen green headgear. They'll all be priced differently. All of them are in like mint shape. No holes, nothing's been shot. Then I got like six greenhead wood ducks.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna have a bunch of divers as well. It's gonna come up for sale
Oh, I
too.
don't-
None of my Dixies.
No.
So
I
for all those that are thinking, you can keep your greasy dick beaters off my Dixies.
I could care less about a diver spread. I did start putting together a diver spread and then done a few diver hunts, and I was like, I fucking hate shooting divers. I'm like, I'm not investing no more money in the divers whatsoever. And then I think I sold all of them. Who did I sell them to? And maybe it was Chris Collins I sold them all to.
Yeah, I gave you a half dozen new redheads
Yep.
to give to someone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
I'll have some foam-filled redheads, bluebills. I think I got a half a dozen golden eye. Whatever. I gotta go through all this stuff still, but
Right.
yeah,
But-
maybe a couple goose floaters, I think too. But yeah,
Look
just
at Phil just
update.
turning this into Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, that's not
Billy's Market.
Oh,
yeah,
I
Philly's
fucking
market. Oh
hate
fuck you.
marketplace.
You wait. He'll
Oh,
be selling
Christ.
fucking clothes on here before.
I tried
It'll be like
selling
the
a
home
chain
shop. It'll be like the home shopping center on the fucking podcast here.
So like
Shopping
when I sell stuff on like these Facebook groups, like I spend the time, I do a little bit of research, figure out like what's it new, what's my condition. I try to price it accordingly. So like I sold a chainsaw like a couple months ago, and I went through and I did the work, and I figured, okay, $350 was a reasonable price for the saw, an extra chain, some other goodies and stuff. I had some idiot from Toronto, hey, will you take $150 and a case of beer? No, sweetheart. No, I won't.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
$100 and a case of beer.
I mean, that was pretty high for a husky.
oh, here we go. But
Hey, that-
yeah, like just dealing with marketplace. Oh, it's just such a headache.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah, go Craig.
I think if there was anything I was going to get, I'd probably get a spinner. I've never had one, but getting out onto Georgian Bay, there's one little spot I go to, and I take my canoe, but I wade out there and I just bring the canoe, and I put all my decoys in there, and I just kind of pull it along as a sled, and I've got it to go to retrieve birds. But like it's a lot of water, right? And I'm basically hunting from a cattail stand. But like you can see the birds just skimming over the water from a long way, and it's like just their wing beats, right? So I'm sitting in the edge of cattail stand, hoping that they just happen to come by and see my decoys. So like I think a spinner out there would be good for me if I could find a spot that's not rock, because it's all the Georgian Bay shield type stuff, right? And so that, and I've been trying to find like an old beat up canoe for like, I'm looking for a beat up canoe for a beat up canoe price to get to some of these back spots where I've taken my canoe out there, but I've got this ancient one of my dad's that thing's got to weigh 100 pounds, and I'm trying to drag it through a bush on a game cart and shit. But try to find a beat up canoe for beat up prices. Like, it's ridiculous the price people want. And like there was literally, I saw a guy the other day on Marketplace had a canoe or a small aluminum boat, literally had like a 2-inch hole in it, and he was still looking for like $600 for it. It's like, it's other guys are like, oh, it leaks a little bit, this and that. This guy literally had a hole. It looked like he shot through the bottom of the boat or the canoe and still wanted.
You just need some Flex Seal, buddy.
Yeah, some flexi. Yeah. Well, and you talk about these inflated prices, and not everybody that's listening to the podcast is going to know what I'm talking about. But when I grew up, there was a snowmobile called the Yamaha Bravo, and this thing was fucking bulletproof. You could not destroy this thing, and this is what Dad had, and this was the skidoo that I used. And I want one, and I've wanted one for a couple years, especially where I live now on this property. To be awesome for just ripping around the property in the wintertime. And the price, and the price Merc, buddy, there's fellas selling like an 87 Bravo for more than what it was brand new back in 87. Like
You should go for the phaser.
Oh, yes.
Enticer.
The
Oh, no,
enticer.
the phaser.
Just gonna send it.
Just gonna
The one with the
send
fucking
it.
headlight that turns at the handles.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. That was a 340 too, I think. That was a fucking fast. That was a fast machine in the day. But yeah, like the prices are crazy, and I get it, right? Like everybody's trying to just make a buck off something, nobody wants to lose their shirt, but some of the stuff, the one that gets me, and I'm glad that there's a lot of people that pick up on this. Phil, I know you're usually right on it. Is the scammers when they come on and they're like, I've got 5 dozen fucking Dakotas going for
Yeah.
200
$100.
bucks. Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus, that's a good deal.
Do you take Bitcoin?
And I just see these deals and I'm like, holy smokes, that's a smoking deal. And then I'll go to the comments and it'll be like, Phil, scam. Or somebody else is like, yeah.
Or you can't comment. Send me a PM.
Yeah.
So this is on the Ontario pages, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy,
I left
so
all
many of them.
those.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, it was like 2 or 3 weeks. It was just nonstop A-frames for like 150
Oh
bucks.
yeah. The A-frames
give
were a
them
big
away.
one. Yeah. It's
Oh,
crazy.
it's funny. Well, it's funny because like I'm on like an obscene amount of these pages, and you'll see like something for sale on one page, and then you'll see someone else selling the exact same photos
Oh
on another page, different name. Yeah. I actually like message. I'm like, hey, isn't this guy selling the same stuff? And like I like include like the same photo. Nuked.
Sort of like the lacrosse boots that we were all freaking out about a week ago.
Yeah. Oh my god, these waiters are like so amazing. Oh, look at these prices.
Look at these prices. Yeah,
They're
$900
an
waiters.
obscure
200.
number, but
Yeah.
get
I ordered a
like,
pair
1,000.
from St. John's.
Oh, did you really? Where
From
from?
Outdoor Probes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Mercer
You
Marine.
get $1,000 waiters for $342.17.
Yeah.
Really? Like just the
Yeah.
most obscure numbers.
Yeah.
Scam.
There was a little while ago too where it's like you kept seeing like whole households. It's like, oh, my dad passed away and I'm clearing out his house, and same thing. You'd see different names with the same stuff, and it happened. My cousin, and she could have been moving, she could have been selling stuff, but then I saw the pictures. I'm like, my cousin does not own stuff that nice, right?
Right.
So I'm texting her. I'm like, are you selling stuff? She's like, no. I sent her the pictures. She's like, yeah, I don't own anything that looks like that.
Right. There's a joke there, but I'll save it for when we're not recording. Yeah, I'll save that joke for when we're not recording. It's a good or two. Craig, you would appreciate it. Mark, I'm not so sure you and Phil will, but I know Craig will. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like the season's coming. I'm in a position now where I'm pretty lucky. And that was something that we talked about. We talked about it on this show a million times, and that is, for a new waterfowl hunter that's coming into the game, regardless of age, if you're 16 years old or if you're 30 years old, it doesn't matter. When you come into this game, it is a very expensive passion to be chasing. And you know what? If you believe everything you see on social media, where you need to be dressed in the best clothes and you got to have panel blinds and you got to have these monster spreads and you got to have a $3,000 shotgun and all of these things. Listen, I'm pretty lucky now, but it's taken me years and years and years of picking away at buying a dozen decoys here and a panel blind there, or and let's face it, let's be lucky. I get some pretty good deals on some stuff just like you guys, but for a new person that's coming into this, it could be somewhat intimidating for them to see the amount of gear that's out there for a duck and goose hunter. And if you think you need to have all of these things in order to be successful, it could be pretty intimidating. And you don't need those things at all.
Hand me down.
There's no what to get.
Hand-me-downs, you're right, Mark. What'd you say, Craig?
I said, and to know what to get too, right? Because you can spend all that money, and if you're new, you may not have the network to know or to know the guys that have the experience with this product versus this product, and you can unload a lot of money and then still end up with garbage,
Yeah,
right? So
like
now
you
you're
can
out.
spend your money on like camo and calls and decoys, or you can buy a shot cam.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with used.
There's nothing wrong with you. Like fuck, man. Like where I grew up, like if you were wearing camouflage and you had all kinds of decoys and stuff, like you got made fun of back home. Like
Yeah,
if
you
like
doing trying to shoot those black ducks when there's mergansers right there.
yeah, like they would laugh at you. Like there was a guy back home, his name was Ken, and that his name was Camo Ken. They made fun of him every fucking day because he'd go out and this guy, like he was a straight up killer. Like Ken was a killer. He could fucking hunt geese. And geese back home was not an easy thing to shoot. And a lot of it had to do with fellas the way that they targeted geese. Like they didn't watch them, they didn't scout. They found where they were and went and hunted them. Yeah, snuck up on him and crawled up on him and stuff like that. But like he was a fucking killer. Like every day he went out, he come home with something. You know what I mean? But fellas made so much fucking fun of him because he'd go with his, and this was like the old school duck camo, right? Like which is the stuff that's coming back now, the stuff that everybody is all over. Like
The old frog skin.
that's the frogman stuff, right?
Yep.
Like that all that stuff. I don't know, man. Like if you're I think the biggest thing, and I remember we had Eric Massey on the show one time, and that was what Eric said. Like it doesn't matter what decoys you're wearing, what clothes you're wearing, what gun, what shell that you're shooting. None of that matters. All that matters is that you're getting out. And if you only get out once a week, then good. You're at least you're getting out and you're doing it. And you know what? Maybe there's going to be days when you come home empty-handed. And there's still days that I come home empty-handed. And I'll never pretend to be a killer like Bobby Hayes's definition of what he calls a killer, right? Like I'm not that. But just get out there.
You got to get out and perfect your craft.
Yeah.
And try and improve on things. You're not necessarily improving on clothing and stuff. You're improving on what you got to do to hide, what you got to do to find birds, how you're gonna kill those birds, how you're gonna get them closer, you got to perfect all those things, which is perfecting the craft.
Yeah.
And it never stops.
Never. You're always learning.
But that's the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
So that applies to hunting as well, right? Like you're perfecting your craft. You're always looking at ways to improve or improve your own skills and techniques or your approach or whatever it is. It's continuous. The other things are almost secondary to perfecting the craft, right?
I wouldn't say secondary. I would say they make life a little more comfortable for you. If that makes sense. And maybe comfortable isn't the right word, but like your clothing. Like, listen, I done fucking 20 years in the army. My days of being cold, wet, and miserable, those days are over.
And hungry.
And hungry. So if I can, if it costs me a little bit extra money to buy a good jacket, I'm going to buy a good jacket because I'm not getting wet and cold and being miserable again. But, going back to what Craig said when he said, he doesn't bring people out sometimes because he feels like he doesn't have the knowledge or whatever, right? I think you're always trying to figure out because you're trying to chase a bird with a fucking brain the size of a pea that still seems to be able to outsmart us every fucking time because you look at them and you guys know it. One of my biggest pet peeves are fellas that know how to call really well, but all they do is call. Do you know what I mean? Like that's it. They just sit in the fucking blind and just call. They don't know how to read the birds. I can't call, but I do know when you need to call and when you need to put the calls down. I can't. You know what I mean? Like I know when.
I know what you mean because we used to hunt next to a group that
Yes.
you and I.
Yeah, me and you. Yeah, and there was times, you got to learn to just put your call down. Like, listen, just let the birds work for a minute. The last thing they need is they're coming. Like they're coming, and especially Craig, like with that spinner. Like, I think every fucking duck hunter needs a spinner. I honestly do because I do believe that they make that much of a difference. Now later on in the season it gets a little bit harder because they're educated and they know it. But again, the spinner doesn't finish the birds. The spinner just draws them, just gets their attention to come to you. And then it's your ability to hide, the layout of your spread and how you could make it look inviting, right? The spinner just draws their attention, just like what you said. Like you can see these birds skimming across the water a mile away, and you're just hoping that they're going to come into your spread. Well, you need something that's going to draw their attention into that spread. That's my opinion, and you know what opinions are like, right? Everybody like assholes. Everybody's got them. I think everybody needs a spinner. That's just. I don't think I ever hunt without a spinner going.
Well, the birds will see before they'll hear, right?
Yeah. Now, again, I will say, like late in the season, I might have it out, and after the first volley or two of birds, if I think the spinner is sort of kind of spooking them, then I'll go yank it. But it's out for every hunt. At the beginning of every hunt, I might pull it halfway through, but I do set it up. I think the one thing though, and I don't have a lot of experience with it, but we talked to Wade Anthony Smith about this, is the jerk rig. I don't use a jerk rig. I've got one, and I hardly ever use it. And I think it's something that I need to bring in and try to perfect that in using a jerk rig, because I think that would make a big difference.
The jerk rig is great. Say if you're hunting like, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be like small water, but like if you can do things by foot and you're not running a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be well hidden for a jerk rig door because you're moving.
Yeah.
You're moving like this, right?
But did you see that thing that guy, I forget the name of it.
Oh, the DP.
What's that?
The DP.
The DP. What?
Yeah, it's like DP something, easy puller.
Something like that, but he's got, it's like an ammo can, and it's got a fucking hydraulic arm, and it sort of kind of pulls them for you. I've reached out to that guy a dozen times for him to come on the show, and he just doesn't even respond to me. So I just gave up, and I'm like, okay. But it's a cool system, but again, you've got this. It's another piece of movement that's happening in close to where you're standing, right? So like, how do you hide that? That would be my biggest thing with that. How do you hide that fucking hydraulic arm that's pulling back and forth in close to the cattails where you're standing? That would be my biggest thing. Jesus, boys, I think we're over an hour.
Oh, we are.
Oh, well, I think it's time to tidy this one up, don't you?
No tidying this up. We're just gonna end it somewhere.
We're just gonna end it. Yeah, all right. So let's do a quick around the table, and Phil is, and
I'm
while I'm
scrolling through Instagram trying to find the name of the stupid device.
Oh, as I'm talking, there's thumbs showing up on the screen all over.
Yeah, they were coming up a while ago too.
And I have no idea.
Turns out we're on Facebook Live or something.
Could you imagine? Well, I got a new computer, and even when Mark come on, like I'm talking, and Mark couldn't hear me, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on.
So this is all Damien's fault.
Pretty much. always blame it on me.
Yeah.
That's
Did you
just
get to the
easy.
end and find out it didn't even record anything?
Oh my Jesus!
Yeah,
Could you
That was
imagine?
recording.
Do this all over again.
Yeah, could you could you imagine? But anyways, boys, thanks for coming on again. Just us shooting the shit, and hopefully, fellas, people like it. And let's
If you don't, oh well.
well,
Too late
yeah.
now, it's done.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You fucking
If
badass.
yeah, really. Like, if you don't like it, well, I really got nothing for you. I don't know what to say. Like, oh, okay, I'll try and do better the
Unlike.
next time.
Unsubscribe.
Well, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't unlike, don't unsubscribe, please. No, let's do a quick round the table, boys, and we'll end this one. Mark, we'll start with you, buddy.
Good chat with you boys. Today was this week's been a good week in my life, and now it's just good to see you guys here. I got reunited with some old friends at work, so things are
Oh
going
yeah,
good.
right. Yeah, right. Congratulations, buddy, on the new job and the new posting and stuff, and I'm excited for you. I know you're happy, so I'm happy that you're happy.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah, no, I got nothing special going on this year. I may get a new shotgun
Ooh.
You should. You
before the
deserve it.
season.
And I'm gonna say this because I know Mark is gonna fucking research and beat this to fucking death before he buys it. What are you looking at?
Not even sure.
20 gauge.
No,
You let me down.
I don't need it.
Anyways, 28 gauge is the
I have a
the
20 gauge.
The
another
28
one.
gauge is the 6.5 Creemore of the waterfowl community.
Yeah, pretty much. No, 12 works.
That and brown dogs.
Yeah.
There, I said it. I got my shot in at the brown dogs. Actually, I was watching a video the other day, Phil, of somebody. I don't know who it was, but holy fuck, man, that dog, and it was a brown dog, and I'm telling you, it was impressive. They had like a, where you show like 2-second clips and you smash them all together to make like a 30-second video of this dog and some of the retrieves that it was doing. I was like, Jesus, you sure that that's not a black dog painted brown? Because it looked a little too good to be true, if you ask me. Yeah. He says, Phil, to you, buddy.
Oh, well, Thunder Chickens in a couple weeks, so
Yeah, man. I'll be
looking
down.
forward to that. Yeah, we'll figure something out. I
Yeah.
got all the time in the world, so. But yeah, Thunder Chickens in a few weeks. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to spending a whole pile more money this year on stuff I don't need. But fuck it, he who dies with the most twice wins. So
Well, you got to get those new Final Approach turkey decoys out, right?
I do. They're sitting here on the shelf beside me, and I know Mario's going to want some photos. So we get those out and hopefully get some mud and blood on them and see what happens.
There you go. Awesome. Craig?
I just wanted to say, after you guys hounded me last week about me not being able to make it this week, and then you guys all having to postpone and pushing it back till today, I was able to make it after all. So I'm glad I got to sit in on this one.
Damn it, we should have scheduled for another night.
Yeah.
So toy with Craig. Just a dick with the new guy.
Well,
And I even got to squeeze it in because Steve and Lori Ann should be here shortly. They're spending the night here before we do the ladies' turkey seminar tomorrow. So
Oh,
I'm gonna
cool.
go, I think, help make some beds and stuff and get things ready for them.
Say hi to them for me.
Yes,
Will do.
please. Oh, that would have been cool if we would have got them on the show, but that would have been a shit show if they would have showed up too.
Yeah, they're still on the road. They said they'd be here about quarter after, so they should be coming in anytime.
Okay, cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, they might be here any minute now. Okay, well, everybody, this is the Union 0430 podcast. We are, as advertised, not experts, and we'll never pretend to be.
We're barely mediocre at best.
At best.
At best.
But we enjoy one another's company, and we have some good laughs, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like, check out our sponsors pages, check out Jeff Coates, and any of the other stuff that we talk about. Yeah, go for it, Mark.
Not necessarily Jeff related, but Jeff's area. In May, I'm going to the Virginia Beach area, and I'm going to see if I can stop into Molly's place.
Oh, nice.
Molly's Sporting Goods.
Your adventure.
Yeah.
In Kennedyville, Maryland. That's all I remember from his.
Yar.
Yar. You know what? That's the next step for Jeff. I know Jeff listens to every episode of the show, so we'll see if he listens to the very end, because I'll get a text message. I think Jeff needs to dress up as a fucking pirate now. That's the next thing. He
Drinking rum at 9 a.m. doesn't make you an alcoholic. It makes you.
Well, and I think Jeff could pull off a fucking pirate. Like, he really could.
Probably.
Oh,
Probably
dude.
good, yeah.
Oh, he could pull off a pirate. 100% he could. Which I think it's about time that we get him back on the show, because we haven't had him on in ages. So I'll be talking to him. I was talking to him today, but I gotta get him back on the show. It's been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Union 0430. Like I said, we are just a bunch of friends that love one another's company and chatting anything bird hunting, and God knows all the tangents that it comes with it. So big love, surround yourself with good people, and we'll see you next week. Ciao.